Should we hit it?
Oh, yeah, we have to because I've got a client coming soon.
Ah. Hello and welcome to Salonomics with me, Aaron Dawn, and my best friend, otherwise known as my hair dad, Joe Mehmet. How you doing, Joe?
I'm very well, Aaron. How about you?
I'm very well. What do you think of that jingle this week?
It's not very Christmassy, was it?
No, it wasn't very Christmassy. It's quite morbid actually, and there is a reason for that.
Why is it because of the football on Sunday?
No, let's not go there. No, there's a reason because we've had some feedback from some listeners.
Have we?
Yeah, that I wanted to share with you.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. So David from North London, he emailed in and he says, "Wow, you two are a bit gossipy."
Were we?
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
David.
Yeah,
yes.
You know David. He reckons you was a bit gossipy last week on the show.
Yes, he did reach out to me. He was sort of saying he liked the conversations, but the anecdotes that I did like, with the apprenticeship things like that. But he did like the when I was talking about Neil and Daniel, about the relationship. But I didn't really think that was gossipy. I thought that was very, historically speaking, very. Not factual, but it was
your turn of events, right? You was an eyewitness. It was an eyewitness account.
Exactly. So I didn't really say anything derogatory or anything like that. Or gossipy. I just thought like there's two hairdressers who had the most amazing experiences. But yeah, anyway, let's not go there. If we gossiping, let's not talk about them.
We also had some feedback from a Mrs. Match also from North London, which is a coincidence. She said she enjoyed the show and she concurred with Mac's assessment that you are an actual danger to society.
That wasn't Max. That was Gary with a double R. That was Gary.
So you're saying Mrs. Match is incorrect?
Well, not incorrect. She just got the names confused. Max was from America. He was talking about sort of smoking being, sort of medically, sort of saying that it's bad for you. And Gary actually was sort of saying health and safety. I should put a finger in my socket. I should put my finger into a live socket because I'm a dangerous society. So, yeah.
Well, if anyone wants to go back and listen to some of the salacious remarks Joe made last week, then you may do. Salonomics has its own podcasting platform there. You can find it at anchor.fm/Salonomics. Of course, you're listening to us. You already know it's there, right? So anyway, but yeah, there was a third bit of feedback I got. This is from Mr. Daniels from Kensington. He says, "You'll be hearing from my lawyers."
Ooh, who's Mr. Daniels from there?
Hang on. Neville Daniels?
Oh, Neville Daniels.
Yeah.
But that doesn't exist. That doesn't exist.
He says you'll be hearing from my lawyers. So what you got to say to that?
Well, I thought the company was defunct, really. So it wasn't a personal attack on anybody. So they can't sort of like come after me personally, could they?
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, so
then,
it's quite interesting that sort of like people are getting engaged though. That's the thing. So I'm not here to offend anybody or upset anybody. Just give stories about life as a hairdresser. I mean, hairdressing is not about. It's sort of like a rosy tinted environment. Like, this whole lockdown is making out to be that we're all this one big happy family, that we're all together. It's not. I mean, it's a lifestyle, right? Which only you and the client will engage in. It's not It doesn't expand into a world of hairdressing. The only time hairdressers get together is like the Hairdressers of the Year Awards or the Son of the Year Awards and things. The rest of the time, they're doing their own thing. Would you not agree?
No, I do agree. Yeah. hairdressers know how to party, right? So they do love throwing parties. Salon International is always a good one. How do you think hairdressers are going to cope this year without this external, projection of their creativity? Do you think some hairdressers are kind of going a bit, stir crazy, not being able to show their talents on stage this year?
Well, they did. I mean, there was the awards last week, wasn't there? Which we, I must admit, I got really bit tied up with doing other things that I didn't sort of get to know the winners as such. But I did look at the contestants, the entrants into and there was some really, really great hairstyles. Not that I haven't seen it before, because hairstyles is always a variation of a previous hairstyle, right? So you're kind of working on a theme, a variation of a theme, rather than something completely new. But there were some really great images. There was a bit too photoshopped as well. There was an awful lot of Photoshop, but there was one or two that I really did like, and I could sort of see certain sectors of the public wearing these hairstyles. Really. Because I think, God.
No, I was going to say, do you want to send any congratulations to Sally Brooks for, winning the hairdresser
she won
British Hairdresser of the Year, 2020, Sally Brooks. So congratulations to you.
Congratulations to you too. Yes.
She joins obviously a small band of female winners.
Well, I think there's been a lot. Just recently, but there's always been a fairly good representative of female hairdressers in the sectors, haven't there? Maybe not so much the British hairdressery, but regionally there's always been a lot of winners as such, wasn't there? I mean, especially in the colouring sector and things like that. So,
the majority of our industry, Joe, is female at the end of the day.
It is. I think it's one industry where I don't think discrimination comes into it, really. I really don't. There might be sort of like some insensitive people around, but if there is, there shouldn't be hairdressers. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I think hairdressers are just too busy, right, to get involved in identity politics and all of that malarkey. Yeah. So, they're busy with one colour developing and their next client sat in the chair, right? So
exactly. And if anything, I think there's more jealousy rather than any sort of discriminatory factors involved in it, because you can sort of see, I've experienced it, you experienced it, where you're busy, someone's not busy, and they will sort of create animosity in the staff room, right? And that's kind of more the fact that they're jealous. There's the fact that you're busy, they're not busy, and they can't accept the reasons why that they're not so busy, so they tend to create that animosity as such. But never personal, really, I don't think.
So why did you never feel compelled to enter awards, Joe? I mean, is there a reason for that?
I was too busy. Plus, also, the most important person for me and for any hairdresser is the client. I mean, I think the proof of the pudding of any hairdresser is the clientele. And it's all very well having sort of a reputation as a great cutter or a great stylist or great creator of things, but if you haven't got a clientele, it means bugger all, in my opinion. And I was more not focused, but I just got involved with so many different areas of hairdressing. I was doing weddings, I was doing haircuts, all abroad. Yeah, so I had this sort of like the salon clients to look after. I had international clients as well to look after. So no 2 days was ever the same, and no 2 weeks was ever the same, because I was being invited to go to an awful lot to the Middle East, I must admit. Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Kuwait, and I've been to Italy, I've been to France to do weddings as such, and to do haircuts as such as well, Spain. So all these things takes a lot of your time, and to do an entry for the hairdresser of the year, I think you have to submit 4 photographs, right? And to get 4 photographs ready with a team of people to sort, it takes an awful lot of time and preparation. not so much the money. The money wasn't the factor, but it's to organise all that, really. And it's all very well sort of getting people to do it for you. Then it's not your show, then, is it, really? Because you have to sort of like start the concept has to be yours, the execution you have to be there, and the finish you have to be there. And if you're not there entirely, then it's not your real. It's not you. It's all. So
yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah, the creative process from concept, we've seen over the years, concept often wins these kind of awards. It's not necessarily about the actual overall image, how technical it is, how creative it is. Yeah. Sometimes it can just boil down to the overall image based on a concept. Yeah, but I think you bring up an important point. There is a hell of a lot of time and energy that goes into like building collections. And unless, I suppose, you've got access to photographers and stylists and makeup artists and those creative people like that, it's going to take a lot of planning, right?
But that's right. Well, you should know, because that's your expertise, your area of expertise.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky, really, because I was obviously a session hairdresser for over 10 years. Yeah. And obviously you're creating collaborations with different photographers, models, stylists and makeup artists, like all year round.
Well, could you sorry to interrupt, could you actually give us a day of a life of a session hairdresser?
Yeah, I mean, the main thing with session hairdressing is no 2 days are the same. Right. What I used to love about it, and I think what suited my personality as being a Gemini, and people having to be aware of both of me, was simply the fact that every day was different, every day was a different team, every day was a new location, and it was that spontaneity of the career which kept me going for so long, if you know what I mean. It was no 2 days were the same. Whereas I started my apprenticeship at Stafford's back in the day, and after 6 months or so, it did feel like it was the same every day. Do you know what I mean? And there was
in a salon.
Yeah, in a salon environment. And
that's really weird, because I never had that. Had that.
Well, for me personally, I just felt that when I was working, doing my apprenticeship in the salon, I didn't start my apprenticeship till I was 20, and I'd already had 4 years of office jobs, and I already felt this, every 18 months, 2 years, I got bored with my office job. Even though it was well paid, and
I used to work. 9 to 5, isn't it? It's a 9 to 5 job.
Exactly, basically. And it was very, very dull and very boring. And really, what opened my eyes up to hairdressing as a career for me was simply the fact that all of my friends at the time were hairdressers, and they were all having such an amazing life. They were so happy, and I wasn't happy in my career.
Did you find that they were slightly exaggerating their environment, or was it actually true? Because the one thing I do notice in our industry, which we will touch, there is a slight fabrication. Like they tend to gloss it rather than actually be realistic about the industry. Did you find that at all when you actually got into it?
No, not at all. Not at all. I actually saw it with my own eyes. I mean, listen, I was very lucky, because obviously I started my career at Stafford's. Yeah. So I was literally seeing someone like Lee Stafford winning awards. I was seeing A.D. Phelan winning awards. Yeah. They were talking the talk and they were walking the walk. And for me personally, it was a little bit like, wow, if I can't learn something from these guys and, change my life, then I'm missing a great opportunity. So really, I had to take my hats off to them. My apprenticeship didn't last long at Stafford's, mind you, because women get in the way, don't they, mate?
You can't say things like that.
Well, I can.
I see. This is fact. In your life. In my life.
So I happened to meet my wife at the British Hairdressing Awards in November 2000. And we had a bit of a relationship going. And what she had met somebody that she thought was Lee Stafford's accountant purely on the basis that I'd wore a pinstripe suit to this awards, right?
Yeah.
So obviously the pound sign.
You're a sharp dresser, sir.
I was trying to impress. I was dressed to impress, but it soon transpired once we kind of started our relationship. I dropped a bit of a bombshell on her saying, yeah, no, I'm giving up my financial job and I'm going to become an apprentice hairdresser. Of course, that was a bit of a shock to a lot of family and a lot of people, age 20. And I didn't.
Can I just, when you were working in a city, what was your salary to actually going into an apprenticeship? What was a big difference?
I was probably earning twice as much as any other 18, 19-year-old that I was mixing with.
In the city?
In the city, yeah.
Did you find that your friends that you were earning or keeping up with before, and then all of a sudden, right, you were sort of like lagging behind them in the salary stakes? Were they still friends, or did you not just party?
Yeah, no, I understand you. I've got a really strong group of friends, so a lot of them I'm still friendly with today, regardless. But there definitely was an envy. There definitely was an envy because obviously I had quite a serious illness when I was 18 as well, but that's another story for another day. So I essentially...
and that was a career-changing illness, wasn't it?
Yes.
So it is important that people should understand this. Really.
Yeah, no, that's right. And obviously that was kind of key to me wanting to change my lifestyle from one of working a lot and earning money to one of being happy and content with what I was doing. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And having freedom and creativity. But like I say, that's another story. But my friends stayed with me.
That's good.
It was just, obviously what I wasn't prepared for was the fact that, going from that salary to a hairdressing apprenticeship, was quite a huge difference in terms of being able to afford stuff. But, I do feel as well, it gave me an incentive to achieve and to qualify and to...
The incentive was to get out of the apprentice position to start earning a lot of money through your hairdressing skills.
Basically, yeah. I mean, and as well, because I'd seen someone like Adi Phelan literally in a year went from apprentice to Men's British Hairdresser of the Year. Literally, I think in about 18 months. It was ridiculous. Right. So I saw what was possible. Do you know what I mean? So if Stafford's gave me one thing, it was that ability to dream and to, aim high.
Right.
And, that's important, I think, in anyone's, initial genesis of their career. They have to be inspired to see what's out there. And
there's something in the salon environment that they would sort of like just focus on. And that will be the reason for them to just turn up to work every day to get to that point that they saw. That's the way I would look at it.
Yeah, totally.
Well, what I find interesting, because I've never really been involved with all this sort of like Hairdresser of the Year awards and things like that, right? But, okay, you get a reputation and such, but what is the financial rewards from it? I mean, could you explain to the viewers? So our listeners.
So the whole point in winning awards, right, is to give you kudos to the public at large, right? If you win a giant award like the British Hairdressing Awards, for example, or even one of the smaller ones, such as, a regional hairdressing award, obviously it gives you that moment in the spotlight. And obviously once you become an award-winning anything, you have authority to basically talk on a subject. So you're more than likely going to be published. You're more than likely going to be rewarded with kind of, product deals and things like that. But also you would like to think that the demand for your services will increase because, you're now an award-winning hairdresser. Right. So even though you're investing maybe a few £1,000s in doing a photo shoot to win an awards, you got to think long term, because taking that step and winning that award essentially should allow you to put your prices up 10, 15, 20, 25%, you name it.
Just on a piece of on a not is it a certification? It's an award, isn't it?
It's an award. It's a beautiful trophy, and right. You get lots of kudos from your fellow, from your industry peers.
Yeah.
I know it's an award that is voted for by your industry peers.
Is it because I would have thought the Fellowship of Hairdressers. Who actually is the correct?
Well, fellowship's something different. Fellowship's different from the BHR.
So who are the judges then?
So the main judges are always previous winners.
Okay.
So I know Lee Stafford goes down every year to judge the awards, but all the previous
the organisers of the awards, the Hairdresser of the Year, who are the organisers then?
Well, I guess it's Hairdressers Journal, right? Don't they organise it through, Schwarzkopf?
Yeah, HJ, Hairdresser,
yeah. So
that's right.
Anyway, but that's by the by. That's also to win an award. You've got to put yourself up for an award, right? So you've got to stick yourself out there and roll with the punches.
You've got to be in it to win it.
You have got to be in it to win it. And, you was asking me earlier about the difference between session hairdressing and obviously salon hairdressing. With the salon hairdressing, if you go for an awards process, you'll get rejected maybe once a year if you don't win. Or if you don't get through to the final, that's one rejection. The other thing that you need to be aware of in session world, you're getting rejected every day because your book goes up against other people in the industry, for commercial clients. So you develop a very thick skin working in the session world. And if you can't handle rejection or you can't handle things not going your way, session industry is probably not going to be for you because it's very, very, very competitive.
I've got to sort of say, on that part, I remember sort of working at, sort of Neville Daniel Neville's. And we were invited to do hair for the, fashion weeks. And my very first one, I kind of remember doing a show for Thomas Swarovski, or if I can't pronounce his surname. And while I was there, because I was the lead of the team type of thing. And we discussed it with the designer and everything, what we're going to do all beforehand.
Yeah, that's called doing the looks.
Right, exactly. So we had come the day, we had backstage, all the models come, and and I'm prepping it. I'm telling my team to prep up all the models and everything. And literally 5 minutes before the show starts, we get the look ready. Brilliant. Right, and then models come up and down. You're titillating their hairstyles between, and up to that point, we were the stars, right? Now, once the show starts, what I found really hard at the beginning of my session sort of experiences was that you become a nobody. Do you know what I mean? It was like, okay, what happens now? Because the show starts and you've done your job, basically speaking, right?
Yeah, that's right. No, there is a definite hierarchy.
Yeah, so you're not needed anymore. So I'm hanging around, trying to get some accolade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well done, Joe. It's a fantastic show, Joe. Blah. Whatsoever.
Insert violin clip here.
Yeah, right. But then it took me a while to actually come to terms with this. And then, and I must admit, I quite like the experiences. Do your job, and then you go.
And you're off. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, and it's fashion heyday.
How did you handle that emotion, Dad? Because it's such an amazing emotion. Because one minute you're so high, and all of a sudden you're coming down. You're not coming down gradually. You're coming down from. That's it. The models are walking. That's it.
Yeah, it's true. I obviously. I think 7 or 8 years traveling with Eugene Suleiman and the like on his show team. And we would go Milan, Paris, New York, St. Petersburg. We went all over the globe doing shows with Eugene. And I think it was, a kind of philosophy that we had backstage. The hair was super important. This is certainly how I looked at it. I can't remember whether this was one of Eugene's sayings or whether this was one of Martin's sayings, who was that team leader for Eugene. Yeah. But backstage, our mentality was, we're not curing cancer. Right. Do you know what I mean? Because it's very easy to get swept away in the ego and the wow, look at, we're at Alexander McQueen backstage and there's Paul McCartney at the Stella show and there's this part. Do you know what I mean? It's very easy to get swept into that, but you've got to have the most consummate professional head on your shoulders to go, I'm here to do a job.
That's right.
And it's, you know, I always had this SAS kind of mentality. You know, you turn up with your kit, you crack on, you're super professional, and then you get out again. Do you know what I mean? No questions asked.
But with the SAS, no one knows who they are, but they're
that's true. Well, I suppose that's in some respect that's true of session hairdressers, because back in the day before Instagram and Facebook and all that, nobody really knew who we were, mate. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And if I wanted to connect the British Hairdressing Awards to session hairdressers, someone like Eugene, I think he won the Session Hairdressers Award 8 years in a row. He never turned up once. Do you know what I mean? So
why was that? Did he not approve of the awards, or was it just too busy?
I think it was a combination of the both, mate, to be honest. He was probably too busy, you know, because a session hairdresser, you're on planes all the time. You're flying here, there and everywhere from the first show to the next show or to the next shoot.
Is it a lucrative side of the business?
Yeah, it can be. It certainly can be for the top like 10, 20%. But like most hairdressing, it's a lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
You know, people never get into hairdressing because they want to become a millionaire, right? There's many, many more careers that you can look to try and excel at to become a millionaire.
You could do a million haircuts, you'll still never be a millionaire. That's right.
Yeah. So I think that, you know, I think it's a mindset thing. Like I say, for me and my personality, I think it worked. I was fearless. I didn't mind turning up in a strange town, in a strange city, in a strange country, you know, off the plane and going to meet everyone, you know, going to meet a photographer or being picked up by the stylist, or do you know what I mean, from the station.
No, I get you. But do you find it also it's a more of a young man's game rather than a seasoned hairdresser's game?
You would think so, right? You would think so. But the most successful hairdressers or session hairdressers we've got probably in their 50s, mate, and they are still going strong.
Really? What, like Eugene,
Guido, Sam McKnight, you know, these guys are all smashing it. And unfortunately, it's like the royal family. There's only a few seats at the table, right?
I mean, one of the greatest hairdressers I know, right? I had the pleasure of knowing him briefly. Was Thomas McIver. Did you ever come across him?
No, I didn't. I worked with Angelo Seminara for 7 years, and I know Angelo. Angelo really was somebody that tiptoed that line between session industry and the commercial salon industry. He's done that throughout his career. And he's really taken a route that I think is quite unique, you know, because obviously there was a definite divide between a session hairdresser is in his own world doing session stuff and a salon hairdresser is in his own world doing salon stuff. Angelo managed to kind of, you know, tread on both sides at the same time.
He got the marriage of those two.
Yeah, he was, you know, he was shooting for Vogue. You know, he was shooting for Vogue, and at the same time, he was winning British Hairdresser of the Year awards. Do you know what I mean? While working with full clientele at Trevor Sorbie back in the day. So Angelo really was a unique person in this space. And I saw online actually the other day, he's just opened up his own salon in Urban Retreat. So
in what, Harrods?
In Harrods, yeah. So come and get me, please.
It's taking over Urban Retreat in Harrods.
Urban Retreat. Well, I'm not sure if it's the Harrods one, but it said Urban Retreat. So is there more than one?
So how old is he now then?
How old? He must be mid to late 40s now.
Oh, bravo!
But Angelo, this is a come and get me plea. If you need any digital services, you need any help.
I mean, because that was a thing that I was.
Joe Mehmet is easily contactable.
No, I'm retired, mate. Thank you very much. That's a thing that I actually found. I was fantastic behind a chair in the salon. I really was.
I'm going to get some of your ex-clients on next week to let you know how fantastic you were.
I was. I actually saw like I could look back on that and say I was brilliant on that. Right? I was I was okay in fashion shows. I enjoyed fashion shows, but I was never very good at editorial. I really was crap. I mean, you know yourself, because I employed you to start working for me, 15 years ago to do my salon editorials, really, because I wasn't very good. You know, it was a very different skill set again. You know, we talked about the difference between a session stylist and a salon stylist, but to do editorials, it's very different. I mean,
yeah, you're right. It's a complete mindset change, because when you're obviously in a salon, client's king, right? You know, you're everything you're doing is to appease that client. You know, when you're on set, the model's got to sit there and look beautiful, and you know, you're kind of the boss of what goes on.
Yeah, but it's moving, isn't it? You know, in a salon environment, right, it's moving. In a sort of backstage, it's moving, but editorial, it's more.
Yeah, in a photographic sense, you know, you've got still images, and they've got to look great 360 degrees, so the photographer can get their shot. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It is a completely discipline. It's a completely different discipline to salon work, and it's one that's super enjoyable, and it's one that takes time. But I think the advantage that the next generation's got over us is they're photographing their work all the time, mate. You know, they've got things like Instagram now, where every day they're taking photographs and they're practicing, they're learning their own composition.
Well, but the thing that I find about the Instagram generation, right, it's always the same look, though. Okay, you know, if you actually, it's the back of a head, it's slightly wavy, tongue, then slightly coloured, but it's just the same look. The only difference really is the length of hair, but it is the same look. And this is the thing that I actually find, which the whole thing wrong about it, right? Because what sells a hairstyle is the front, not the back. I mean, I remember, and I'm sure you must have seen it as well and experienced it yourself, is that when you did a haircut and then you finish the whole look right from start to finish, and you get it back, you get the mirror, you show the client the sides, you show this. When you go to the back right, you actually move it very quickly. You know what I mean? So like you got the back mirror, you kind of like, look at this, whoosh. That would be within 2 seconds. Oh, it looks nice. But when you actually sort of got the image of it on Instagram, it is so uninspiring, unimaginative.
Yeah, but I think that's more to do with the volume. You know, it's because you're seeing so much.
Some of everything.
Back in the day, 10 years ago, you would see your work in a magazine.
You sound like an old man. Back in the days, I remember.
Listen, it's true though. The only opportunity we got to publish our work was in a magazine.
That's right.
Of course, the internet existed then, but it wasn't. It wasn't used in the way that it's used now. It would take a half an hour to download a high-res image. It will take a day to upload a video.
Oh, listen, I agree with you, because nothing nicer to sort of see your name in a magazine, hair by, hair by for so-and-so, or hair at so-and-so, So to see your name, right, must have been a good buzz.
Oh, absolutely. I remember it. I remember my first published work, or my first cover, I think it was for FHM USA.
Really?
And coincidentally, I was actually in New York the day it came out, obviously because you wouldn't have access to it in the UK, but it was a photo shoot we did up in the Highlands in Scotland. It was like it was a men's shoot. It was a really cool shoot. It's on my it's in my portfolio if anyone wants to go and have a look at it. AaronDawn.com.
Well, is your portfolio online?
Yeah, so AaronDawn.com.
Is that a new thing now as well, having your portfolio online?
No, mate. I used to actually build people's web portfolios for them back in the day, back in 2003. I used to build mine, my wife's portfolio. There was a lot of hairdressers that came to me to ask them to make their online portfolio for them, because it wasn't as simple as just uploading an image to Instagram like it is now. You actually needed programming knowledge.
Is that how sort of companies looking for potential hairdressers find their hairdressers? That is that source of information that they're looking for through?
Yeah, I mean, it's, all you need is an Instagram account these days, don't you? But I still think having your own standalone website with your own domain name is real estate that, you own. At the end of the day, with Instagram, you are fighting in a very, very crowded space with lots of noise. When you've got your own bit of digital real estate, such as, your own domain name, that is what is going to put you at the top of the Google. You type in hairdresser, hairdresser near me, your Instagram profile isn't going to come up top. Do you know what I mean? It will be someone that has their own domain name. And as we know, people in purchase mode, they still using Google. They go on to Google to type something they want to buy. They're not necessarily going on Instagram to buy stuff or to find out recommendations. Instagram really is a confirmation of your competence, by having your portfolio there. It's obviously not going to work from the point of view of getting you new clients.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Bravo, well done.
Thank you very much. Go on then. So then, Joe, what's got your goat on LinkedIn?
It's not so much goat, Rob, but what I noticed that you actually made a point about there was a post about landlords helping hairdressers out, and I kind of joined into a conversation, and I just understand why hairdressers need a landlord to help them solve their business problems, really. Because the landlord at the end of the day are businessmen themselves. They can only do so much. If the business is not surviving because of COVID or whatever, 6 months rent-free holiday is not going to solve their problem, really. So this movement of trying to get landlords to resolve a hairdresser's dilemma, a salon owner's dilemma, I think it's the wrong call, really, because it's bad enough to sort of seeing landlords being attacked by the government on the residential side. It'd be quite indicating to sort of see them being attacked on the business side as well, because it's unfair to sort of like look for excuses for failing businesses, I think. Because at the end of the day, a landlord don't want to see an empty property because they still have to pay the rates, they still have to pay business, all these kind of taxes. So they'd rather have an occupied premises than an empty premises. But if a business is failing, they should not seek a landlord for rent reduction or a holiday. They should actually be seen in the insolvency agency. I really do believe that.
I mean, I recommend, obviously, everyone goes and connects with Joe on LinkedIn because he's quite a sight to behold on there. Joe Mehmet, JoeMehmet. Obviously, I'm Aaron Dawn. You can find me everywhere that you've got internet connection.
And you can find me through Aaron Dawn.
Well, I suppose so. Yeah, that is true. I've written a new blog. It's up on Salon. It's about the big why. It's about why being future-proof is going to be super important come 2021. So I recommend you check that out. gosalon.uk. Yeah, I hope you enjoy this podcast. Me and Joe obviously quite enjoy doing them. Otherwise, we wouldn't do them. That's our only rule in life, isn't it? We got to enjoy it. Otherwise, we don't do it. Without further ado, thanks for listening, everyone. We hope to speak to you all soon. See you later.
Bye.